Well, hi, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you today with a book haul. Last week, I was able to go to bookstores and picked up a handful of books as I was out and about, and so wanted to share those with you. And so the first store that I went to was actually the Dollar Tree. And Dollar Tree, if you never go there, every once in a while they'll put out some good books for, I would like to say, $1, considering their title, the name of the store is the Dollar Tree, but now everything's $1.25. So I jokingly refer to it as the DQ tree, the dollar quarter tree. And so anyway, while I was at the DQ tree, we found that they'd put out a bunch of new books, and a couple of them I picked up. They go with my coaching that I like. You know, I love baseball. I coach football, basketball, and so anyway, I picked up a couple of sports books. Long story short, and this first one is called "The Chicago Cubs: The Story of a Curse" by Rich Cohen. And I saw this, and you know, when you see a book for $1.25, you know, you can't, and it's brand new, you can't really go wrong with it. This was from Farrar, Straus, and Giroux out of New York, and it is a 2017 book. So I say new. The Dollar Tree will bring out books that are, I think mainly what they are is just extras that didn't get sold through the initial, you know, in that initial first year. And that's what, you know, this is. It's a 2017, but and I'm okay with that. As long as it's a good story, I'm okay with that. So I'll read this first, or the inside cover to you. So when Rich Cohen was 8 years old, his father took him to see a Cubs game. On the way out of the park, his father asked him to make a promise. Promise me you will not become a Cubs fan, because the Cubs do not win. And because of that, a Cubs fan will have a diminished life determined by low expectations. The team will screw up your life. Cohen became not just a Cubs fan, but one of the most fanatical Cubs fans in the world. In the Chicago Cubs, he captures the story of the team, its players, its crazy days: Billy Sunday, Ernie Banks, Three Finger Brown, Ryan Sandberg, Bill Buckner, the Bartman Ball, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo. The early dominance followed by a 108-year trek across the wilderness. It's all here, not just what happened, but what it felt like and what it meant. Cohen searches for the cause of the famous curse. Was it the Billy Goat kicked out of Wrigley Field in Game 4 of the 45 World Series? Or does it go back further to the very origins of the franchise? Driven mad with futility, he goes on the road with the team in search of answers, interviews great players, present and past, researches in libraries, but also in the bleachers, double-fisted, frosty malt in each hand, demanding answers. Cohen comes to see the curse as a burden, but also as a blessing. Cubs fans are unique emissaries from a higher realm, warning of hubris and vanity. Excuse me. The blue cap with the red C said, "My kingdom is not of this world." He interviews the architects of the 2016 Cubs, the team that broke the curse. Here's what he asks: how the heck did you do it? He's at almost every game of the 2016 playoff run, a run that culminated in maybe the single greatest baseball game ever played. He's excited but also terrified. Losing is easy. What would it mean to win? Wearing a Yankees hat means corporate excellence. Wearing a Mets hat means miracles. But wearing a Cubs hat means loving the game on its most humdrum afternoon. September 13th, 1979, say 14 games out of first place, Larry Bittner driving in Ivan DeJesus. Would he lose that? Would being a Cubs fan become ordinary? A captivating mix of memoir, reporting, history, and baseball theology, the Chicago Cubs, 40 years in the making, has never been written because it never could be until now. Only with the 2016 World Series can the true arc of the story finally be understood. All right, and so Like it said there in the introduction, right after the World Series. This book came out the next year, and so it's going to be a culmination of the entire history of the franchise. And so I look forward to that. I always like books like that. The next one is My Personal Best: Life Lessons from an All-American Journey by John Wooden with Steve Jameson. And of course, John Wooden, famous basketball coach, coached the UCLA team to, I can't even remember how many championships. It was a lot. Very, very successful coach who had a pretty awesome winning program. This comes from the McGraw-Hill Companies, and it is let's see here. When did it come out? I do not see a year. 2004. There it is. 2004 book, and this is a nice book. It's got high quality paper, great pictures throughout of all those teams that John Wooden coached. So in this book, we're going to find that, let's see, a good teacher or coach must not only understand others, but himself or herself as well, from John Wooden, quote from him. In this captivating book, beloved basketball coach John Wooden reveals the educational journey he took throughout his legendary life, from his earliest days on a small Indiana farm to the glory of his historic record-setting UCLA dynasty. Throughout My Personal Best, Coach Wooden introduces us to the men and women who shaped him and the many important life lessons they taught along the way. You'll meet his father, Joshua, the honest, straight-shooting farmer who urged his son, "Don't try to be better than anybody else, but never cease trying to be the best that you can be." I think that's a real important lesson in itself. His mother, Roxy, a hardscrabble survivor who taught her children the value of faith and sacrifice, and his wife, Nellie, the high school sweetheart and ukulele virtuoso who inspired him courtside through many games and who continued to be his inspiration throughout his life. And you also meet Coach's own coaches, such as Principal Earl Warrener, the feisty disciplinarian who guided Wooden through his first games and left him the lesson that no player is bigger or better than the team. High school coach Glenn Curtis, otherwise known as Old Fox, who taught Wooden the poetry of basketball, and Purdue's Piggy Lambert, who unbending principles and love for his team became Wooden's model of what a great coach and teacher could be. Last but not least, you'll meet many of the students and players who became, in the end, the coach's greatest teachers of all. This treasure trove of all things Wooden also includes rare, never-before-seen photos from Coach's private collection, pairing with priceless photos with evocative personal stories. This modern sports classic encompasses the arc of Wooden's achievements and the spirit of his all-American experience, one that will serve as inspiration to anyone who aspires to be a coach, not only on the court, but in the arena of life. And, for all of his success that he had on the court, I think that was one of the, that last part where it says not only on the court, but in the arena of life. There's a lot of life lessons with John Wooden. So I am excited to pick that up and read that. And both those books are pretty small books. It won't take me any time to get through them. A day or two later, I ended up going to Books Revisited, one of my favorite little used bookstores. It's connected to the Rolling Hills Library there in St. Joe, and they take the books that are taken out of circulation, they go up to Books Revisited and they get resold, and then people donate books, and all of the money that is gathered from the store is used for just different projects around the town. And I really liked its mission, and they always have good books in there. Now, the other day I did a video with Sean D. Standfast. We did Desert Island, and my episode's set to premiere the first Sunday in September. And when we were talking, one of my books that I chose was a John Steinbeck book, and Sean was asking me about other books. Have I read any other books by Steinbeck? And I had read a couple of other books, but he had asked me about The Red Pony, because I told him it was one of the smaller books, and so he was trying to guess it because I couldn't remember the name of it. And he had asked me about the red pony, and I did not have that. And when I was at Books Revisited, guess what I found? I found a nice little copy of the red pony, and it's a Penguin Classics here, or Penguin Books. And this is, let's see, this one was printed in, let's see, oh goodness, I can't find the current date. Originally 1933, I believe, is the original print date. There it is. This edition published in 1992. And it's a really slim volume, but I'm really looking forward to reading this because I love Steinbeck. And I'm probably going to read this in the next week or so. It's only 100 pages, and I thought it'd be good for, end of the summer read right before school starts. So I'll read the back cover. It won't take very long here. It says, raised on a ranch in Northern California, Jody is well-schooled in the hard work and demands of a rancher's life. He is used to the way of horses too, but nothing has prepared him for the special connection he will forge with Gabillan, the hot-tempered pony his father gives him. With Billy Buck, the hired hand, Jody tends and trains his horse, restlessly anticipating the moment he will sit high upon Gabillan's saddle. But when Gabillan falls ill, Jody discovers that there are still lessons he must learn about the ways of nature, and particularly the ways of man. And so I look forward to that. Should be good. Now, I'm going to save that book for last because that was probably the best one of the haul. But recently, everybody if you followed the channel, you know that I've been reading, and I thought I had it sitting here. I guess I don't. But anyway, I've been reading David Halberstam's baseball book. I read Summer of '49. Really love the book. And then I have sitting on my shelf October of 1964, which I am going to be reading sometime. I may even save it for October just because of the name. But I really liked his baseball book. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And a couple weeks back, I was at Books Revisited, and I saw on the sports cart. So they've got, in some parts of the store, they got little library carts full of books, and they have one that's especially for sports. And I had saw everything they had, sports writing from David Halberstam, and I failed to pick that up. I don't know why I didn't pick it up. I just didn't. And I got home and I started kicking myself. I finished Summer of '49, and I just got to thinking to myself, why in the heck didn't I just pick that up and buy it? You wanted it. And so lucky enough, when I went in last weekend, I think it was Thursday actually, when I went in, they still had it on the shelf. And so I picked that up, and this is, let's see here, from Hyperion Books out of New York, and it's from 2008. And basically, it's just a collection of David Halberstam's sports writing. And so I don't think I need to read the inside flap to you because that's kind of self-explanatory. But Halberstam's a good writer, and I enjoyed his stuff, so I was really happy to add that to my sports collection. And then since I had David Halberstam on the brain, I saw The Coldest Winter, America and the Korean War. And this is kind of a big old thick chunky monkey of a book, and matter of fact, it's 719 pages long, so it's a big old history of the Korean War by David Halberstam. And it's kind of a neat kind of a see-through cover. So if you take off the front jacket, the actual cover of the book is a scene from the Korean War of the soldiers marching. So it's a really neat cover. This is from Hyperion Books out of New York, and it is a 2007 book. But this David Halberstam book, I was excited to get because I don't have hardly anything on the Korean War. It's just in my library here at home. It is one of my gaps, and so this is going to fill one of those gaps. And I like his writing, so I'm hoping I'm going to like this book. But it's a history of America in the Korean War. And again, I don't think I'll read the inside flap to you. I think you get the general gist of that. And last but not least in this book haul, this is possibly the prize. And this is a Penguin Classics that I was able to pick up. I've been teaching, most of you know that I'm a middle school social studies teacher, and I've been teaching middle school social studies for, let's see, 16 years. This will be my 17th year of teaching middle school social studies. And my 8th grade class always covers early American history, and we cover the slave trade, and we cover the the beginnings of slavery in America, and then the downfall of slavery with the at the end of the year with the Civil War. And so one of the introductions that I give to my kids about slavery is from a lot of Equiano. It's an excerpt from his book. And for 16 years now, 17, going on 17 years now, I have been looking for his book for the whole time because I wanted to read the entire book instead of just a couple pages excerpt from it. And I found it on ebooks. And if you follow the channel, you know I don't really care to read ebooks. I don't like that. And so I was at the Books Revisited, and look what came up. A Penguin Classics. It's a lot of Equiano, The Interesting Narrative, and Other Writings. So the Interesting Narrative is the one that I'm talking about. And it's the story of his life being captured in Africa, brought to America into slavery, and then getting out of slavery and working for slavery, and just all of the stuff that really comprised his life. And I'm so excited to pick this up. This is, like I said, a Penguin Classics. And this printing is from 2003. The original work is a lot older than that. The original work is, let's see. Sorry, I got to find it here. I can't remember. Let's see. 1789. 1791, right around that time period is when the book was originally published. And so very valuable piece to, slave narratives, so to speak, and just the life of what the life of slaves was like. And so I'll read the back cover of this one to you, and then we'll wrap this up. So a lot of Equiano's narrative recounts his kidnapping in Africa at the age of 11, his service as the slave of an officer in the British Navy, and his years of labor on slave ships until he was able to purchase his freedom in 1766. As a free man on a Central American plantation, he supervised slaves. Increasingly disgusted by his co-workers, he returned to England in 1777. In England, he worked for the resettlement of blacks in Sierra Leone, or Sierra Leone. I've heard it pronounced both ways. Married an English woman and became a leading and respected figure in the anti-slavery movement. A fascinating autobiography, a tale of spiritual quest and fulfillment, a sophisticated treatise on religion, politics, and economics. The Interesting Narrative is a work of enduring literary and historical value. This new, revised, and expanded edition includes twice the number of previously known published and unpublished works by Equiano. So I'm real excited to have that. It'll go right beside my Frederick Douglass stuff, and real nice to have. So BookTube, that is 6 books that I've picked up in this last week. Tell me what you think. If you've read any of them, did you like them? And thank you for watching. I hope everything's going well in your neck of the woods. We're sitting here on Tuesday. I was going to do a tag. I think I'll do it later today and just post it probably Thursday. But I know it's Tag Tuesday. Didn't get that accomplished because I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to do. But it'll be up soon. But anyway, the weather around here. Everybody always talks about the weather. So yesterday, my daughter wanted... Katie wanted pancakes for dinner. She wanted breakfast for dinner, and we didn't have any pancake mix or milk, so we had to run to the store and go grab some. And so we went out there and got in the car. Temperature was 99 degrees, and then of course the heat index on top of that. And so right here in Iowa, southwest Iowa, the nice cool weather of last week, where it was in the 80s, felt wonderful last week. That's gone, and we are in the heat. And so needless to say, we all stayed indoors. My dog Clover was disappointed all day yesterday. She kept wanting to go outside, and I'd take her out to go potty, and then she'd eventually come running right back inside because she realized how hot it was. But right now, it's not as hot, so I think I'm going to take her for a walk right fast, just because she hasn't had one for a day or two because of the heat. So we're going to go run outside and go take a walk. I hope you guys are able to get a good walk in, even though the country's being hit by a heat wave. So anyway, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a great week. Till next time, happy reading.